Alright, hello everyone, Amanda here with Eclectic Scribbles. I'm back to you today with a brand new video. Today's video is going to be all about gouache paint. So pretty much what I have decided to do was go to my local Michaels and Hobby Lobby stores, see what kind of gouache paints that they have on hand, get those, and let you know how they compare to a higher quality gouache, sort of like the Winsor & Newton Designers gouache line. I have that as well, which I also picked up at my local Michaels. So all of the stuff that I will be using today and comparing today, I did not order off of Amazon. I will link as much as I can through Amazon and what I can find, but several of the things here are like the Hobby Lobby type brand or the Michaels brand. So I may not be able to find all of it. I will, like I said, link what I can in the description and let you know what I think about all of the brands combined. So to get started, I'm going to swatch everything out in this Strathmore art journal, which I picked up, and I have laid out all the colors so that we're all ready to go here and can swatch out all the paints. As for the paints themselves, I picked up the Reeves and the Savoir Faire gouaches from my local Michaels, and I picked up the Fine Touch and the Master's Touch Fine Art Studio gouache paints from my Hobby Lobby. Like I said, I picked up about 20 different colors in the Winsor & Newton Designers gouache, which I will show you all of from my local Michaels. I'm going to be setting up my palette, my gouache palette, using those colors because I know that the quality on those will be better than these, and that's the ones that I'm going to be using regularly. If you are curious at all as to how to set up a palette for gouache, I'm going to do it in the exact manner that I set up my palette and got it ready for watercolors. So if you have not seen that video, I will link it in the cards and down in the description box below, and you can go and check that out after we finish this video. These are all of my Winsor & Newton gouache tubes, except for the one that I did have on order in Amazon, which I talked about in the watercolor setup, and that is the Flesh Tint. Everything else I picked up the other day. I also picked up this larger palette because they didn't have any of the fusion palettes at my Hobby Lobby. So this one is the Master's Touch Fine Art Studio 33 well palette, and this is what I'm going to be putting mine in for the gouache setup in case I want to add more colors to it later. I have prepared this in the exact manner that I prepared the other one. This is a much larger palette. It is a lot heavier. It feels a lot more plasticky. It doesn't feel as good a quality as the little fusion one, but I'm going to give it a good shot. So it is just called a covered palette. It is the Hobby Lobby brand, Master's Touch, and this is the box that it came in. So it was 20 bucks. Not bad at all, especially if you use your coupon on it. Alright, so I'm going to get that out of the way. I am going to, like I said, I'm going to swatch everything out in this Strathmore journal. I've got the Master's Touch, Reeves, Savoir Faire, and Fine Touch right here all laid out, and we're going to check the quality of these paints. I picked this up from Michaels as well. It is a Royal and Langnickel acrylic level 1 brush. So it's just a inexpensive brush that we're going to use to swatch everything out. Alright, so right now we're going to jump into a time lapse. I will swatch out all of these colors, and I will be back at the end to give you my thoughts on the paints themselves. Alright, here we go. Okay, y'all, so the palette is set up. All of these colors are swatched. That took forever. And I've got to say, I am not too terribly mad at any of these paints. They're not horrible. I didn't run into any gloopy messes with the cheaper paints. I actually ran into more issues with the Winsor & Newton paints, but that's because I'm going to head and go out on a limb here and say this is the older packaging for Winsor & Newton. And I really don't think my small town Michaels sells a whole lot of gouache. So I think they probably had these for quite some time. And so you can see where the green, this red here, and this Naples yellow up here, and a couple of the blues were a little separated. It's not too big a deal. So the rest of them seem fine. And yeah, the flesh tint is the newest paint. I know that that's a newer paint because I ordered it on Amazon. So yeah, other than that, the paints went down just fine. They went down how I thought they would go down. Okay, now all the paint is dry. We're going to go back in here and we're going to jump in. I'm going to give you some thoughts on each of the four. And if you're wondering more about gouache, what gouache is, how to use gouache and all of that, there will be a tutorial on gouache, how it differs between gouache, watercolor, and acrylic and everything else coming up in the next gouache video. So we'll go over all of that as well in the next video. This is just so much about colors and maybe giving you some ideas as to brands you could use or you may want to avoid. Alright, so this is the Master's Touch, the 24 count gouache set. It was $14.99 at Hobby Lobby. It's okay. It's not very opaque at all. It's not very pigmented. This color here, the rose color, looks more fuchsia to me, and this mauve color definitely looks violet to me. Outside of that, there is not a whole lot of difference between the deep green and the Viridian hue. There are some subtle differences, but not enough to be two different paints in this set. The black is nice and thick. The white I would like to be a little bit more opaque. Well, all of the colors I would really like to be a little bit more opaque. None of them are truly opaque. So I can't say that for $14.99, considering the price tag on the other paints, that I would actually recommend this, especially with the rose being more fuchsia, the mauve being more violet, and these two colors being pretty much the same thing. So that being said, we'll move on to the Reeves 8 count. The Reeves looks like it has dried slightly chalkier. That's fine because gouache is more chalky. The thing that I didn't like in this set was the opaque nature of most of the colors, although the burnt sienna, the burnt umber, the gray was really nice, and the black are nice and opaque. The dark green is fairly opaque as well. The peach in this is what I don't like. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, but I even was testing it down here. The color is not mixed well in the tube and is separating, so it is definitely not a single pigment. It is a combination of pigments, not that the pigment information is anywhere on any of these cheaper sets tubes. The pigment information is, the permanence is on here, and the pigment information is on the Winsor & Newton brand paints, but they're a lot more expensive. So the Reeves 18 count was $16. And it's okay. I mean, for a starter kit, it would not be bad at all. Like I said, I wish some of the colors were more opaque than they are, and this peach is not great. So that being said, it's not too bad for the price. The Savoir Faire is my favorite of these different gouache sets. The colors in this are a lot more pigmented than in anything else. You only get 10 tubes, but it is exactly what you need in a beginner set. So you've got your primaries in the red, the yellow, and the blue. You have got two of your secondaries, well, all of your secondaries, your permanent green, your deep violet is nice and vibrant, and your bright orange. So you've got your primaries, you've got your secondaries, you've got a good black, you've got a good white, and you've got a nice burnt sienna as a sort of neutral brown color in there. perfect beginner set. This set is $16 as well, you know, just like the Reeves set. And while you have to mix a couple of your own colors and go from here, this is an excellent base, and these colors are nice and opaque given the price. So definitely this one would be the one that I recommend. The Fine Touch, I was fairly certain that this Fine Touch would be the exact same paint as the Master's Touch. I don't think that it is exactly. I think that this actually might be a little bit better in comparison. So if you're going with either the Master's Touch 24 count or the Fine Touch 12 pack, go with the Fine Touch 12 pack, because it's got all of the basic colors that you need, and it is it just looks better in these swatches than this 24 count does. And like I said, some of these things were a little repetitive. All right, and then the last one that we have, the Fine Touch set was $7.99, so definitely not bad in price there. So if you're going to Hobby Lobby, get the Fine Touch 12. If you are going to Michael's, get the Savoir Faire. Winsor & Newton, I've already told you what problems I had with the tubes that I did open, but that being said, the colors are exactly what I expected them to be. They're very nice. They're very pigmented in comparison to them, but the price tag is a lot more expensive in comparison to the others. I really like this Flesh Tint by Winsor & Newton. I just do. The Zinc White is not bad at all. Jet Black or Lamp Black, I would go with Lamp Black. This is slightly cooler than this. This has warmer tones to it. If you're going for a beginner set and you want to go ahead and get something about this grade, I would suggest doing the same thing and forming your own sort of 10-pack. I think these are on clearance right now, sale right now. They're either $6 on clearance at Michael's, and that may vary from Michael's to Michael's, or they are $12 a tube. So I would say I really would do the primaries, the primary red, the primary yellow, and the primary blue. I would do the Lamp Black and both whites. They were out of the permanent white, but I would do both whites. The Spectrum Violet is nice. The Brilliant Green is nice. I would actually go with the Marigold Yellow, which is a nice orange tone as well. So these are sort of the ones that I would go for. I really like this Naples Yellow. It's a nice skin tone base as well as the Burnt Umber. That's really nice as well. I don't have the Raw Sienna, the Ivory Black, or the Permanent White right now, and those were the ones that were sold out at my particular Michael's. But they're very opaque. They're much more opaque than the other colors here. So they're very nice as well. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints. I will create a piece of artwork with these paints in the next video, as I am going to voice over what gouache is and how to use gouache in the next video. So you will see the piece of art coming from that, and we'll talk about how to use gouache itself. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the swatches. I know some people really enjoy watching paint being swatched. I know I do. So the next video will most likely be a little bit more informative than this one. But those are my opinions. Savoir Faire if you are going to Michael's, and the Fine Touch 12 set if you are going to Hobby Lobby, unless you want to go with the designer gouache from Winsor & Newton, and then I would say definitely go for the same colors that you would find in the Savoir Faire set. Alright, I want to thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up if you found it at all helpful. And until next time, bye everyone.